guys, and welcome to this week's episode of We Are the Bonsai Supply. I am Jerome, and today we're going to work on this bottle brush right here. This bottle brush is a fairly old tree. It has a very wide, very big trunk and a very wide base. This tree has originally been collected, and then it has been put into this nursery pot, and then it was forgotten all about it. So this tree is definitely ready to be now worked on and to be turned into a bonsai. Now, the reason why I know that this tree is ready to be worked on is because it's pushing a ton of new growth. You can see on the tips, all of this new growth is starting to come out. So once you see that a tree like this is starting to bud out, that's when it's a really good time to start to do the bonsai training. Now, this bottle brush is called a bottle brush because the flowers are shaped like a bottle brush. This is a very cool species in bonsai. It has very cool characteristics. Originally, I believe it comes from Australia, and this is a very good candidate for a weeping style because the branches naturally start to weep. Now, I do think it's a shame that this species is not used more in bonsai because it makes such a good bonsai. It has very small leaves, it is very vigorous, it has beautiful flowers that are proportionate to the size leaves as well as the size trunk. Now, since this tree has a very nice and fat trunk number 1 and a trunk number 2, this is a very good candidate for a twin trunk design. Now, I'm obviously going to have to shrink it down a lot more than this, and I'm going to have to change up the trunk heights a little bit because right now they're all the same height. So I'm going to have to choose, I'm going to have a main trunk and then lower trunks, and since I'm going to turn this into a weeping style, I have to be very creative with the design that I choose. Now, one thing that I noticed right off the bat is that the tree has a fantastic root base in the front, but there's nothing really in the back just yet. So that could be a problem in the future, but it could also mean that that some roots are hiding on this side, where it would just be a very, very easy fix of just raking out the roots. So the first thing that I'm going to do here, I'm going to take my turkey cutter, which is a small saw but very, very powerful. You can find this at any Home Depot or Lowe's. And I'm going to shorten the trunks a lot more so that it stands a little more stable. Then I'm going to remove the pot and I'm going to cut the roots off, and I'm going to place it into its new pot. Since this tree is just budding out now, so that means that the buds are starting to swell, meaning it's coming out of the winter now, it's coming out of its sleep, that it's a really good time for me to go ahead and do this process. So this is the very first styling of this bonsai right here. Oh, pre-bonsai material now. So this is also could be looked at as a Yamadori, since it was collected in the wild and then put into a pot and then just left alone. And you see how it's budding out everywhere. So it could be looked at as a Yamadori. I think that's fair to say that this is a good Yamadori. So this is the very first styling where you take a tree from the wild, you dig it up and you put it into a smaller pot. You let it recover from the ground and you just let it grow. You're not going to worry about the top really that much. And now we're going to do the very first styling. So today is the first day that this tree's bonsai training is beginning. So let's get started. So the next step, I removed the circling roots, so I removed the very obvious parts. Over here there's so much dirt and so much muck. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to take the saw and just cut straight through the bottom, and then I'm going to wash this out so that I can get a better look at what my base looks like. Now, I don't quite know how far down the feeder roots go, but I can see that there's a line right in here that has a lot of feeder roots. So I'm going to first cut straight through here, and then I'm going to see what the situation is, and then work my way gradually up. Now, if I would think that I could just cut right through here, and then I end up with no feeder roots, the tree will die. And at such an old age, you definitely don't want to risk that, right? So I'm going to go ahead, lay this puppy down, and we're going to go right through here. See me tear up the entire root system, and I brought it down to this from when it was about this tall before. Now the first thing I do is I cut out all the thick roots like this that are going to be below the surface. You always want to have the thickest roots and the biggest roots on top of the surface. Those are called surface roots. Everything inside the pot, you only want these fine little roots. These are called hair roots or feeder roots. And these are the roots that actually feed and nourish the tree. Alright, so the next step would be to then go ahead and decide. So this branch here I'm definitely not going to need because it's poking you right into the eye. So what my goal is with this tree is, so this branch, this big branch right here, that's in the center, I'm going to cut that one out because it is coming back into the canopy. So it's coming out and then it's coming back into the canopy. So I think that if I'm going to cut it right here, I'm going to cut it first around here, that this is going to open up the tree a little more. Alright, so the reason why I'm leaving a little stub here is because I had a branch over here, a really nice branch actually that broke off while I was sawing, unfortunately. So I'm going to leave this piece because this piece has a lot of green left, so it will continue to draw the sap into this trunk. If I were to cut this off, I could potentially lose this entire branch here, and then it would no longer be a twin trunk. And I think that having a twin trunk really adds on here, so it's going to add a lot of character to this tree. So I'm going to leave it for now. Once I see buds pushing everywhere on this side, I'm going to remove this once and for all. Now the reason why I think this is a really cool twin trunk is because you have a main trunk which is really fat, and then you have a thinner trunk. If you have two trunks that are exactly the same thickness, that would make a very bad twin trunk because it looks too man-made. Now when you have one that's really thick and one that's very thin, you kind of replicate nature a little better, and this looks a lot more natural. So now the next step would be to cut this branch shorter. So I'm going to cut this branch to about here, and then I'm going to cut this one to about here. Now this is my main trunk, right? So this is going to have the canopy, and then it's going to weep down, and then out of here I want these to have these little shorter. These are going to be my outside weepers. So this is going to weep like that, and then this is going to weep on top like that. I hope that makes sense. This stage is really good. I have some green here and I have green up here and I have green over here, so I know that these will sprout. And so once this one starts to sprout, I'm going to weep it. I can weep this one closer to the trunk and this one kind of over the top, and then the same here where I can weep this one out here and then weep this one over here and then this one on top. So by having different stages like that, I can create a very dramatic windswept, a very dramatic weeping tree. So now this is the very first styling obviously of this tree. So the next process would be to just let it grow out again, let it get very strong and healthy, and then we can either defoliate it and start to shape it and do its first shaping and then go off of there. So now the next step would be to find a pot that is big enough for this tree. So let's go ahead and do that now. couple things to note. If you take a tree from the wild, a Yamadori, you collect it, you usually want to put it into a huge tub. So if the root base is here, you want to have a pot that's coming out to about here. If it's too close to the main roots, they could potentially die off because the container is too tight. Now over time, you can reduce the root ball, and only if the root ball is really healthy, you can reduce the pot down to a bonsai pot. Now here I was able to do it because it was already collected and it was in another pot for a very long time already, so I knew that the main surface roots had survived. Now if I had to do a lot more of a taper growing, I would not put it into a bonsai pot. I would again put it into a much larger tub so that I have a lot more room to grow and I could finish the top much faster. But since I had the top already done and this tree has incredible movement, I don't know if you can see it from there, but the trunk comes up straight and it has like a very gentle twist here, and then it goes this way and then it comes up and then it goes back that way. So it has very gentle movement. It is not completely straight. All of these trunks have movement, even this one right here. So therefore I was able to put it right into a bonsai pot, and now I just have to focus on growing the branches, which now won't take that long because all the main trunks, everything that takes a very long time to grow, has already finished growing. So the last thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to apply some cut paste onto these cuts that I've just made. I'm going to water it thoroughly. I'm going to keep it in the shade for about 2 weeks at least, and I'm going to keep watering it every day, and I'm going to keep it in the shade until I see new buds push from everywhere, and that's when I'm going to move it out into full sun and then continue my process. The soil that I used is none other than our all-purpose Bonsai Soil mix, which is made out of pumice, calcine clay, lava rock, and pine bark. And like I say in all of my videos, I use this soil mixture for everything, even succulents, cactuses, you name it. And now, before I forget, I may have not been too specific in the previous videos where we are located at. We are located in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, okay? So a lot of people have been coming in lately and they're like, oh my God, you're here. I didn't know I lived so close to you. So I guess I was not specific enough. So if you are from around, please come by and come visit us. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys have any questions, please let me know. You have any suggestions, also please let me know. And I did take notes of some of the requests. We are also going to be doing some travelings, so we're definitely going to make videos there as well. I will see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching. All right.